Hi, I'm Sarah Alexandra Marks. You're listening to the Don't Go Out There podcast.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. Really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's film review, just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy the episode. All right, guys, jumping to the film review. We're continuing on with Dustin's theme, Neon Month, and it's Mike's pick. Mike, you announce your pick and why you picked it.
My favorite color. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I had to sing a little Chris Young there. Great album, by the way, all the way through. No skips. Anyway, I went ahead and picked his 2023's Infinity Pool. One of those years. Look, I only picked it out of pure spite because Dustin had mentioned that it was one of the Neon movies he didn't care for the most. So went ahead and picked that, and I hate when I do that because I end up making all of us miserable occasionally when I do that because this movie's not great to me. Now, I will give it credit, like I do on this show often, for the original concept. Anytime someone is willing to do something what I call original, I think it's worth noting. And I do think that this movie, in idea, in theory, does a decent job. But execution, I'm just not here for. This movie is one really weird drug trip. Like, acid's not the right word because I've done acid. And shrooms as well. So, like, it does feel like I'm tripping the majority of the movie. There are some times in this movie where I get lost in what's going on. I think the performances are good. I honestly think this is one of Mia Goth's best acting performances, full stop, because she plays like two different characters, really, which she does in the X trilogy as well. But in one movie, one character, she has like knobs on that character that she can turn up and turn back down. It's also one of the only movies I've heard her real voice in, to my knowledge. She normally has an accent from some other place. But all in all, I don't hate it. But I would say if I ever rewatched it, it wouldn't be on purpose, just because I do think at a runtime of whatever the fuck it was, it still felt longer than I wanted it to feel. Pause. So yeah, I mean, I didn't pick it because I liked it. I picked it because I thought Dustin would hate it, and I don't know what score he's going to end up giving. But if he turns on me like I did Dr. Sleep, then hey, I got what I deserved.
Yeah, I'll go next. I don't really care for this movie. Like, I had seen it one time in the past, like after it came out. We had just done X and Pearl on the show, and I saw this movie with her, so I bought the Blu-ray just because I think it was pretty cheap on Amazon. I don't know, the movie, like when we did Sinners a couple weeks ago, I had 9 scene by scene or something like that for it because the movie's so long and so much is going on. This movie is almost 2 hours and I only have 5 set of scene by scenes. The movie is just too long for what it is. It just drags on and on and on. And it's kind of annoying and it's confusing. Like, I like movies that make me think and, make me feel some type of way and like wondering like Like when the movie ends, like what was the director trying to say? I really just don't know what he was trying to do with this. And I don't think it's pretentious. I just don't think it was. I don't want to be spoon fed everything either, but I just really don't know what he's trying to do here. But I think Alexander Skarsgård and Mia Goth both give good performances. It's well made and all that, but it's just not a movie I enjoy watching. So go ahead, Dustin.
So I first watched this one on October 24th, 2024. I was getting started. I wasn't too deep in my Neon watch through. Still not done. Like I've said before, there's just too many documentaries that I don't care about watching, so I'm dragging my feet on them. But I watched this one and I was like, I don't know. I didn't hate it, but I don't care for it. I think the movie's too long. It's just a nut hair under 2 hours. And in between like the action and the surrealism, it just slows down to a crawl. And that's where it loses me. I have since learned that I didn't look into who directed it the first time. Like usually I look that stuff up if a movie interests me or if I hate it. But if a movie I'm just like lukewarm on, I don't really look too much into it. I learned that this is Brandon Cronenberg. If that last name sounds familiar, it's because he's David Cronenberg's son. And that makes all the sense in the world because I am not a big Cronenberg fan. And this movie, once I realized that it was David's son that directed this one, like he's heavily influenced by his dad's style. Like this feels like a Cronenberg film. There's another movie called Crimes of the Future that David did, and it feels kind of similar to this one. And it's also Neon. And it's also just one I don't care about. I don't know. I don't think it's terrible. Shout out to Cleopatra Coleman. She's in this movie, and she was in a show that got canceled way too soon. It's called The Last Man on Earth. I'm still mad that Fox canceled that show, especially the last episode, the last scene we see. What a cliffhanger. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. I just think it's an okay movie. It's original. I'll give them props for that. And, you know, there's some really good stuff in it, but it's just the in-between loses me.
Yeah, really quick. Do either one of you know what this movie's trying to be about?
Well, he said that he was working on a sci-fi movie about killing clones. And then he also had a story, like a lot of the stuff at the resort is based on his real experience. He went on vacation. Brandon Cronenberg went on vacation in, I believe he said, the Dominican Republic. And a lot of it is drawn from that. Like they bus you in the middle of the night to this resort. There's razor wires surrounding it on the fence, on tops of the fences all the way around the resort. You're not allowed to leave. And it's just very bizarre. So he just kind of married those two stories and came up with this. So,
okay.
Yeah, I saw that too, but it's like at the end of it, I just have more questions than I know what's going on. Like, and I'll talk about it at the end, but let's jump into the scene by scene.
Okay.
The film starts with James and M whispering to each other with a black screen. He denies saying what he did, but clarifies she wanted to get breakfast. She says he's frozen these days, and we hear kissing, and he tries to make moves, but she wants some buffet action. The couple is looking snazzy as we get some nice rotating camera shots of the resort island, Latoka. A resort worker addresses everyone saying it's almost the rainy season, and they celebrate with traditional music as we see musicians with these weird Eki masks on. M asks about going on a boat tour and to make dinner reservations, but James doesn't want to do another dinner in town. M asks to go, and she'll meet him on the beach. A mischievous local on a four-wheeler disrupts the peace as we meet Gabby, who tells James her interpretation of what the local is saying with his actions. She tells him she loves his book and introduces her husband to him. Gabby invites James and M to dinner at Yang's. At dinner now, and the couples make small talk. Gabby shows off her ability to fail and sell and says she's been waiting 6 years on his second book. Awkward as James reveals he hasn't been writing and he may have a lack of talent. M reveals she has all the money in the relationship. Lights flicker as security cams look around the dance floor. James and Gabby lock eyes several times as we cut back to James and M, who are joining the Bowers on an excursion outside the resort walls, which is highly discouraged. They load up in the car and are led out the highly secure premises of the resort. We see locals doing manual labor behind fences as the couple makes it to a secret spot by the water. James and Gabby continue to make eye contact as Albin makes more sausages, joking he's fattening him up for dinner. Albin asks M, why James? He has no money, calling him a loser, basically. M jokes daddy issues and he hates him and told her to never marry a writer. James leaves to pee as Gabby walks behind him and gives him an old handy. James splooges his load on the ground below, and Gabby walks off nonchalantly like nothing just happened. All right, Mike, that's the opening set of scenes. What'd you think?
Yeah, sorry, as I fool with my desk here. Well, first of all, we open with white sand brain death, which I have no idea what the fuck that is. This camera work 3 minutes in is already giving me a headache. All right, like there's, you mentioned not being a Cronenberg fan, Dustin. I'm also not a fan of his work personally, so this doesn't surprise me that the inspiration came there. Look, I'm a simpleton. I'm an idiot. It took me longer than I'd like to admit to realize that this group of people were wearing masks. I just thought they were disfigured, so that's something. The first time I watched it anyway. And so, maybe not here where they are, but there is always an asshole on a four-wheeler being an obnoxious piece of shit where I'm from. So this was not surprising to me at all. This guy was out here being an asshole. Now, look, this thing where Mia Goth kind of walks up to him and invites him to dinner, it's kind of weird, right? And out of the blue, and if I were somewhat famous, I guess, I don't as famous as an author can be in this day and age, I would be flattered, but I would probably politely decline. And how come Mia Goth plays an actress of some kind in like every movie that she's been in the last few years? Like she's always playing she's an actor playing an actor in a lot of movies, which I notice is a theme for her. But, again, it's almost weird hearing her real accent. And I'm certain that she's spoken in her real accent in other movies, but I haven't seen every movie Mia Goth's ever been in, and so I do apologize. But I'm almost certain these types of ditzy actors for commercials like this were a real thing for a long time. So I'm sure there was some based on real stuff there for sure. I like how she uses the bun chop. I chop her buns. Sorry, that's the only one I got. I won't be gross the rest of the movie. I'll try my best, but just to let you know, chop her buns. Anyway, you can tell M, you can tell M already hates her ass too. Like, shout out to Dustin, but these two women can't stand each other. It's always women tearing down other women. Ain't that right, brother?
Got that right.
That's right. I was going to shit on this whole thing excursion they have them do, but I can't lie. As someone who loves camping, these views are fucking gorgeous. I would love to come out here and swim in that swimming hole and have a good time. That looks fucking awesome. I'd love to be out there. Some of these shots are super weird. Like I mentioned, I'm not a massive fan of the camera work and the direction, especially when one leads right to kind of an assault, old-fashioned. But, I mean, if we're going to be honest, nothing wrong with a little good old-fashioned, little handy. But a dry one that I know, that I saw, I didn't see anything wet go down on them. So that's not always the best. But, last thing, I could have gone 1,000 years. That's a long time, people. Without ever seeing an Alexander Skarsgård come dump on rocks. Fuck, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's some. First of all, you said Mia Goth. She's an actress playing an actress. I thought of she's a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. But also, I thought of it reminds me of Bobby Cannavale, how he's a cop in every movie he's ever in. But
he really fucking is.
Some really cool camera.
To you, by the way. Oh, sorry.
We're gonna run it back. Some really cool camera work in the open. That and the score do a great job of setting the tone. And then we see some hideous-looking masks that continue setting that tone. Pretty mundane stuff, introducing the characters and getting us here, not going to lie. But, of course, Maxine's an actress. Duh, she's a star who will not accept a life she doesn't deserve. So I had that in there. Alban and Gabby, man, that's some bold people. I'll give them that. She was flirting with James right in front of him. And then he asked him, why marry a poor right in front of him? Or right in front of him. Like, that's wild. Not to mention how these scenes end. Handy dandy. Also, I wasn't going to say it, but I don't think that M and James have the best marriage, because if he was able to make the bald man throw up that quickly from a dry handy, he ain't been touched in a long time. But anyway,
I was going to say, that's not even the only clue, brother. There's a lot of clues there.
Well, yeah. But I'm saying I don't think they – yeah. Overall, it's a pretty slow open, though. It doesn't really do it for me, not going to lie.
Yeah, very fair. Evening time now as they load the car up, and Alban says he's too drunk to drive, so James volunteers. The headlights start to flicker on and off, and James messes with the switch until suddenly he runs over a local. He slams brakes and everyone awakes. They exit the car and everyone is shocked to see what happened. Gabby says, "No police, get back in the car." She says jail is brutal and filthy. This isn't a civilized country. She says she and Albin will handle this in the morning and drive back to the resort. They apologize to resort security for leaving and are let inside hesitantly. James pukes and tells them they'll see the others at breakfast. Knock at the door and it's the police. James and Em are taken away and she's hyperventilating. James asks where they're going as they're taken inside the police station. The couple is separated and James begs to be let out. Thresh joins him saying Em is fine. Thresh begins interrogating him and is told to deny renting the car. Thresh brings up the man who was hit by the car and says Em confirmed it. James is informed of the Doubles Act for visitors. Basically, you pay a bunch of money to create a clone of yourself that can be put to death for yourself. He signs the paperwork and weeps. He withdraws the money and pays up. He's stripped naked and prepped for the cloning process. Trippy visuals of disco balls, Gabby dancing naked, as we see his clone being formed. Sometime later, Em asks James if he's all right. His head is hurting, and he's told the double came out perfectly. They're waiting downstairs. The couple sees James' surrogate and are told they will be present for the execution. Surrogate James is bound to a beam, and a kid with a knife appears. He cries out to Em for help until he's stabbed in the abdomen repeatedly. James and Em watch on in terror as the boy is escorted away. All right, Mike, that's the next set of scenes. What'd you think? And that's where one of my questions come from. Is that actually the surrogate, or is that real James? Is the surrogate actually sitting with, that's the kind of things I'm wondering, like, is that the real James and we just don't know it?
And that's what Albin asked him. I'm sure you have a lot of questions, because one of the things I wondered was, did they replace, am I the clone? And I was like, that's a good thing. I didn't consider that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really question it later on in the movie when you get multiple versions of James, right? Like, especially when they bring him out as a dog version of himself. Spoiler alert! Like, who is the real James, and who are these other clones real? Like, I don't know. So it's very interesting. I agree with you, Nico. Look, this man just had a handy. All right, so this is going to go one of two ways. He just, he dropped the man. I don't know. Whatever you can use for busting a nut. All right. I'm sorry. I'm just going to be blunt. So he could feel like $1 million and drive like Richard Petty, or he could go to sleep like Randy Marsh did after his wife finally gave him a handy and he was on those cooking shows or whatever. So it could go one way or the other. Now, I've seen this being run over murder mystery before. I know what you four did last summer. God damn it. Thank you. That's a fun reference there. Here's a question. You're driving. You're in the you're in a country you're not familiar with. Your car didn't have brights. Like no one else is on the road. Just, turn your brights on. Anyway, I feel like it was extremely odd. They tried to ticket grub them at the own resort they were staying in. Okay. Also, my man pukes. James, ice up, son. In the words of Steve Smith, no puking around here. You gotta act a little bit tougher than that, man. You just ran over somebody. What's wrong with you? And for a little bit, I thought they sold him out, sold his ass out. I mean, he did run over and kill someone, so manslaughter is a crime, and that crime deserves punishment. What can I say? However, this idea that they're going to clone me and, have the oldest son kill that clone while I watch, I don't know. Can I just do a little prison time? That seems a lot more chill than what this shit I'm about to go through here. And by the way, speaking of, earlier in the recording, we were talking about Human Centipede. Have these people not seen South Park? You have to read what you sign, man. Otherwise, you end up eating a fish and fish cutlet and broccoli or whatever, and you're in a human centipede line. So don't do that. I'm all over the place tonight. Now, Alexander Skarsgård is kind of jacked here. All right, I'll give him credit for that. Man looks in phenomenal shape. If I looked like him, I'd probably want to be cloned too. But this movie gets fucking weird. And if you have epilepsy, do not watch this part of the movie. I have no idea what the fuck was going on here. But you did see me a goth naked, so that wasn't terrible. If they clone, sorry, I guess that's another time. Whatever. Fucking let me be, all right? Leave a bad Apple review. I don't give a shit. If they clone me just to kill me, I mean, I really wouldn't mind, I guess. I get to go home. That's not super horrific. I will say, last thing I have here, Dustin, which is the killing scene is brutal and kind of difficult to watch. But then you kind of take that 1,000-foot view and you realize that it's not really him, or is it, I guess? If it's not, the clone sure does beg for M like it is the real James. So very interesting. This is the scene I was talking about, Nico, where is that him? Like, I have no idea. That's like you said, right? Like, it's very realistic if it's not. So at least they were effective in that sense.
Well, here we go. Twice in 1 week I get to make this reference, but we finally get something interesting happening when James pulls a Brandy Norwood. I mean, just ran that dude over. Crazy customs in this country. We'll clone you and kill the clone instead. Pay an undisclosed fee and you live. Don't ask questions, just sign here. Like, I need to know what his ATM limit is, though. Like, that looked like a lot of money he took out. So I'm not doubting that he had the money. Now, I'm not saying that it was a lot of money to be paying for this. I don't know, but because I don't know what currency that was. But I'm just saying ATMs have limits. Debit cards have limits. We get some very surreal images when he's being cloned. It's fascinating, if nothing else. And then them watching the execution. That had to be gut-wrenching and a mind-boggling experience. Like, to see yourself get stabbed to death, that would mess with you mentally. Not just seeing your death, but like the morality of substituting someone else to die for you, even though it was a clone. Like, it's just, that would be a lot to process. I didn't have much. It's a little bit better set of scenes, but still kind of boring in between the action.
Yeah, for sure. James and M are given the ashes, and a car is there to take them back to the resort. M is packing frantically, ready to leave as James lollygags around. He can't find his passport now as M snaps, saying we have to leave. They're in bed, and James tells her if she wants to leave without him, he understands. She says it's disgusting that he was able to watch it happen like a robot. What's wrong with you? He leaves to go to the front desk to see if they can help. Gabby is there watching him as she asks if their room is still available, requesting a week's extension. Gabby asks if they're leaving and apologizes. She asks him to have a drink with her so she can explain. She tells him their cloning process and says he should thank her. You were looking for inspiration. She invites him to their villa to meet others who have had the same experience. Albin greets him, saying he's transformed and looks beautiful, pouring him a drink. James is introduced to everyone, and we get a lot of dialogue. He's washing his face as M calls, and he doesn't answer. Gabby appears checking on him as they join the others as a man offers to help get a new passport if he'll play a game with them tonight. They threaten to kill James if he doesn't join them on their break-in to get the medal. They put on the Eki mask and make it to the man's house to steal the medal. James is caught with trying to break in, and the others bombard the place. Gabby holds naked women at gunpoint as they celebrate finding the medal and liquor. Gabby aids him with gun to execute the man, but she takes the gun from him. Albin joins, offering a drink and cigar to James. Another man appears shooting, and Gabby opens fire, killing them. Dr. Modon and the others get Albin inside to treat his wound. All right, Mike, that's the next set of scenes. What do you think?
Yeah, something Dustin mentioned at the end of his last thing there was it's kind of boring in between the good parts, right? Like, there's not enough of an interesting story to keep me going. And I actually have that in my notes here where it's like, man, they use really good artisan bread to bake this sandwich on and then stuck some fucking Oscar Mayer in, or even Great Value meat in there in between. So, like, there's like a lot of dips that are just not that fucking interesting, man. I don't know how else to say it. Now, back to the actual movie here. You know, it would be interesting and trippy to receive ashes of your clone. Like, that's fucking super weird and would be, like, I don't know, an out-of-body experience, I guess. Now, I will say I would struggle deeply if Mia Goth was over the other chair giving me those eyes. I'm a weak man. Say what you want about me. Anyway, like, I love how she tracks him down and let me explain. And how about you explain why you gave me a random dry old fashioned? No, you can't be doing that. That shit got not only did my clone die, I'm all chafed down there, man. I can't do shit. I will say she's not wrong. If you're an author, what's happened to James here, that's a great writing material shit right there, brother. I'd definitely write a really good book about it. And I'm still confused as to why James didn't want to leave. I know the passport situation, but I don't know. He could have tried, use the author card, say, look me up, something, anything. But whatever. If I were James, I'd be pissed, right? Like, I didn't sign up for this clone intervention, and I would be worried about exactly what we're worried about. Am I the real James? Am I? I don't fucking know. Was that a clone? I don't fucking know. So I will say this is the least favorite type of group of people to hang out with. These group of rich, cocky, white fucking prick people suck, man. I can't stand it. And all these people can go to hell, to be honest with you. Now, who has friends in immigration, by the way? Who the hell? Whatever, dude. Anyway, this is easy for James. You can play along to get along. I think it's pretty clear as throughout the rest of the movie he gets caught up in what he's going on with this group. But, for starters, play along to get along to try to get through. I understand. You couldn't pay me to put on one of those masks. Nope. Feels like bad karma. Feels like some kind of ancient thing that they had going on. No. Would not do that. And, this is the part of the movie. What in the fuck is happening here? There's old man dick on my screen. Like, come on, man. Like, peek behind the curtain here, fans. We've done Strange Thing About the Johnsons, which is somehow stranger than this movie for sure. But there's just a lot of weird shit going on in this. I also could not take an innocent life. No chance. Even if it was a clone, it'd feel weird. Last thing I have, there's a weird Bollywood stage play going on, and that actually got me to crack up. I thought that was a pretty funny cutaway there. Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, when Em and James are talking in bed, their marriage is over. There's no coming back from this situation. Gabby has a good point, though. If he was looking for writing inspiration, this trip has given him a lifetime's worth of material. Good wrinkle when the doctor asks if he's afraid they've killed the real James, like I was saying earlier, like we touched on. Something I didn't consider earlier. And it makes what I said before even more true about how troubling it would have been to watch. Party turns extremely weird when they put the masks on. Those are some of the creepiest masks we've seen in movies we reviewed. I don't know. They just gave me the heebie-jeebies. It's crazy that this man is just given a second chance at life, and he's out here doing B&Es now and holding people at gunpoint. Like, he needs new friends. Wild transition from a gunfight to a Bollywood dance. I laughed as well, Mike. That was crazy. I don't know what to think of it at this point.
A movie's something else if Dustin is stumped, so good for Brandon, right? The group's all in hospital gowns in the police station as James is told why the doubling feature is unique to Latolka. Thresh is ready to make a statement today as he has them all escorted out. He has them all handcuffed to a box and on their knees. James tries to resist with a knife, but is seized and has his throat slit. But we hear clapping from the originals who watched all the executions. James makes it to the room with M, and she says she's leaving and he can stay. She asks if this is a dream. He tells her to go on and run back to Daddy. He tries to stop her, but she's gone as he sits another thing of ashes on the mantle. James tells Gabby M has left. Gabby says women like M train their men to be weak and blood is needed to undo it. Gabby kisses him and says the rainy season is coming and asks if he'll walk with her. Gabby opens a chest and gets an Eki root drug out for them to try. I want you to show me how strong you are, she says as she puts the bowl up to his face. The two begin to kiss as we get trippy orgy and sex scenes that last way too long. Way longer than I've ever lasted. We're at breakfast now and James is spitting cherries at other tables, ticking everyone off. James is told Thresh is the holdup with the passport. He doesn't want James to leave. James, Albin, and Dr. Modon get to the hospital and break in and exit with the detective in a gurney. The group is drinking and torturing the detective. James begins laying the smack down on him and then urinates on him. Gabby leans down and removes the sack, and we see it's a James double. James begins to panic and runs off. Gabby knocks on the door saying it was just a joke, they were only trying to have fun. She offers to bring the double and let them both fuck her. All right, Mike, that's the next set of scenes, and the next set is the ending. What'd you think?
Yeah, this movie gets really fucking weird, man. This is where the movie loses me in a lot of ways, honestly. Okay. So all these fucks about to get cloned again. Again, I'm just confused. So they can just kind of do whatever they want. It's the fucking purge, and then they get cloned again. Like, all right, whatever. I would just kill these people instead of doing this, but whatever. I understand they kind of explain that away. This dramatic ass play death, like James has become one of these assholes, right? Where he's kind of like making the clone suffer. I will say, Mia is fine in this movie, but I would have left with him. I would have done whatever I could to get the fuck out of there while I could. It's one of the weird things I think. Maybe he is a clone. I don't know. Maybe not. Of course, Gabby thinks it's for the best because, shout out to Dustin, more women hating women, man. Just got to steal her man. You know what I mean? Just, of course, that's how it goes down. Look, I don't particularly, as a 33-year-old man, see the interest in staying around here and getting cloned over and over again just so I can do some awful shit. I don't know. Eventually, just like every other drug, that shit would wear off too. Foreign root drug, no thank you. I don't care how good or how trippy that high is. I will not be doing that. And for respectful reasons, I had to fast forward this Mia Goth scene here, okay? That's all you need to know. Please understand my decision there. Plus, it was almost giving me a seizure, so that's also, that one also had the weirdest nipple shot I think I've ever seen. I'll be honest, this is around the time I do kind of lose interest in this movie. I feel like you could shave around 20 minutes off, and this movie loses absolutely nothing. You get the same result. And the reason I say that I don't care about him doing more drugs or finding his passport is this group of douchebags all deserve death, including James. So I actually don't really care if he makes it out or not at this point. I do think it was a funny joke, honestly, that they played on him. He had to piss on himself. It's pretty fucking funny if you ask me. James needs to lighten up, son. Like I said, in the words of Steve Smith, ice up, man. It would trip me out, though, if I had to piss on, in the words of Steve Austin, it's better to be pissed off than to be pissed on. You know what I mean, brother? But last thing I have, Gabby, it couldn't have been that good where you can get me to do whatever you want. Maybe it would have. I don't fucking know. I've never had Mia Goth in my life. Go ahead.
She's one woman. Had them all. Very tense scene, seeing the group get taken into the other room and executed. And then crazy seeing that it was more clones. Like, these are some sick people. M needs to leave and file for divorce immediately. And then maybe slide in my DMs. He has some deep-rooted issues, man, like following in with the wrong crowd, letting his wife leave him, and then just going along with whatever Gabby says. He is weak. Be a man. And we get more surreal imagery while they do the sex. I'll give this movie a ton of credit for the camera work, the visual style, and score, but it just feels like some of the scenes go on forever without actually doing anything. And these people have lost their minds. James deserves everything that happens to him. Reminds me of Christian in Midsommar. Like, I don't feel sorry for him. Nothing like getting high and beating up a cop with your friends and then pissing on him. Like, these people suck. But wait, that's not a cop. It's another clone. Have these people ever heard of video games, sports betting, going to see the nighttime ballerinas at Magic City? Like, they need some hobbies. Anyway, I'm ready for the end.
Speaking of the ending, here we are. James gets a passport he had hidden and preps to leave Latolka. He's on the shuttle, but then a car with Gabby, Albin, and others are following along, and she shoots at him. The shuttle slams its brakes as it's cut off by the cars. Love you, Mia Goth, but she now yells out for James over and over in the most annoying voice ever. She tells the bus members to bring them James Foster, or she'll go in there shooting. He exits the bus and walks down the road as the cars follow. Gabby continues to insult him, calling him an idiot and demand he walk faster. She reveals she never read the book and calls him vain for believing anyone's read it. James runs off into the woods as the group gets overly playful and Gabby fires shots at him. He gets hit in the leg because of course he does. James makes it to a farm and falls over. The girls doing laundry run to him and he awakes like Rick Grimes in a bed being tended to. He hallucinates again, seeing the boy he killed and M laughing at him. He awakes and wanders the farm and the Gabby gang is back. Albin walks to him telling him to come forward. Gabby says she's going to fix him and he needs to shed his larval mind. They bring another clone version of James out on a dog leash, and he's given a knife. Only blood can free you. Sacrifice the dog, James. He refuses, tossing the knife, and Gabby points the gun at him. The dog attacks James after he tosses the knife again, and James is getting his ass whooped until he gets the dog mounted and pummels his skull in with punches. Gabby holds James and wipes some of the blood on her breast meat and has him suckle her nipple. He calls M and gets packed up to leave, as do all the other Gabby gang members. They're on the shuttle and make it to the airport. Albin and Gabby tells James they hope to see him next year and leave. James is still sitting in the terminal looking at his ticket and passport. Now we see James is back at the resort, sitting outside getting rained on. Bro is down bad, down abysmal as the film ends. Mike, that's the ending. What'd you think?
Yeah, what the fuck is this ending, man? Jesus Christ. Okay. I would, at this point, if I'm James, I'd be worried about never getting the fuck out of here. I would never be able to tell if I was on a bus that's real, if this was a game, if I was even a real person. Like, I don't know, man. And Mia Goth with a very effective and well done, extremely annoying ass performance. I'm supposed to hate her voice, and by God, do I hate that shrieking ass voice. Job well done there. Where was this character the whole movie, though? kind of like we've talked about, there's been a lot of boring shit that's happened. This is actually interesting where she kind of becomes evil in a character, right? Not just some sexy actor, right? Like she actually has some depth to the character. I think this is much more interesting. Like he gets shot and lays down for a little bit. Hey man, I've seen a lot of war movies. You get shot and you just keep running. What the fuck is wrong with you, man? Get your ass up. Ran into the woods. Anyway, my takeaway here is something Dustin would be proud of. Again, women ruin everything. That's what I got to say about that. Trippy ending here, right? The son from earlier comes back, splits his face. I know it's all fake. M is there. Like, again, I don't really know what's going on, but I would rather be killed, I think, than endure all of this. This isn't worth it. Watching a clone of me crawl out like a dog. Nah, man, I'm good. You can have all this. Then after that whole experience, he's sucking Mia Goth's nipple like it's his mommy or something. Just, nah, man, what the fuck? Again, don't understand it. Weird choice there. And then after all that, a plain Jane ass ending, right? Like they all just kind of go their separate ways. They look normal, in their travels. I'm just confused. And did the real James go back? Did he stay at this resort and get soaked in the rain? I don't know what's going on, man. All I know is I'm glad the movie is over.
Yeah, finding the passport had to be the biggest relief ever. I would have ran to the airport immediately. Like, I don't care if I'm locked in this resort. I don't care what time it is. I'm going. If I was on that bus and saw those lunatics driving beside us, I'd lose my mind. And then when the driver stopped, I would hijack the bus and plow through them, especially when she started yelling, James, like that. I envied deaf people for a short moment when she did that. They'd have to just kill me, though. I'm not walking all the way back. But the meanest part was her degrading his book and his career like that. As bad as James sucked all movie, Gabby proves once again that women are just not good people. That's heartless. And then this idiot got himself shot. She's firing blindly into the woods, and you managed to get shot. Serpentine, dummy. Don't run in a straight line. I know he about had a heart attack when he saw that boy that killed his first clone walk in. And then, what? Things get weird. More surreal imagery, and M is there? Like, she's behind this? Told you women are bad people. JK, it was just a nightmare. But it's still weird. They bring another James clone out on a leash and want him to kill it. I bet he never leaves the country again if he makes it out of this. But he beat the stuffing out of that dog, though. Call him James Vick. And then he starts breastfeeding. I don't know, man. Like, I like a weird movie, but this one's just, huh? And then why is this idiot taking those urns back with him? I'd be wanting to forget this trip, not take back mementos and souvenirs. If I'm him on this bus ride, I would crash out when this group of lunatics are just all acting normal. Don't act like we didn't just go through the most bizarre week of my life. And then he went back home, or he went back to the resort instead of going home. M, hit me up. I can spend your money and be a better partner for you. I guarantee it. Even if I just go back to my old ways and cheat on you left and right, I would be a better partner than James was.
Never change, Dustin. Shout out to all of our lady listeners. Really appreciate y'all. We didn't have anything on Instagram. I got Facebook pulled up. We only had one comment. Sean Irwin commented, "This was an insanely weird movie, but a decent one. Definitely creative. Mia Goth definitely putting out whatever she wants and putting on great performances during it." She did give a great performance, but I don't know if I think the movie's decent or not. We'll get to that later, though. Dustin, do we have anything on X or Blue Sky?
We did. Let me get it pulled up here.
Hey, was I supposed to look somewhere? I've been charging my phone.
No, you're good. I didn't.
Cousin Vinny said, enjoyed the original concept, still felt like this left more to be desired. And then Mike Settle said, stole this right from the words in my notes, brother. Goth kills her performances, but as usual, that's about it. And then that guy, Millhouse 14108, says, Mia Goth with the, I don't know how else to describe this, but the very Italian emoji. The, upturned hand and the fingers. And thumb. Anyway. She has become must-watch cinema, with Saint Maud being the first. This is the second film to make the show that features a man receiving unsolicited Andrew Jackson. 1, this still hasn't happened to me. 2, y'all starting to worry me, with a laughing emoji. 7 out of 10 for me. Love the show. Appreciate that, brother.
7 out of 10? Oh,
Yep.
Okay. Wow. All right. I guess his favorite color is neon. Dustin, you got any fun facts or trivia you want to share before Mike does the budget? I don't have any trivia.
I got a couple, but I just got to say, as we continue in this month, I've really never heard that song that you keep referencing and Mike has sung the past couple weeks and you put it on the Instagram post. Like, I've never heard it. If you're going to pick a country song about neon, how could you not pick Neon Moon?
I was trying to pick something more upbeat, but yeah, Neon Moon goes crazy.
'Cause I just don't,
They're
I'm
both
unfamiliar.
great
I
songs.
spend most every night.
Who
Hey,
who
they're
was
both
it
great.
does that song that you just referenced?
Neon Moon?
No, the other Neon.
Chris Young.
Chris Young.
Chris Young, the former pitcher in Major League Baseball.
I don't get the reference.
I don't get the reference. Like, I'm asking, did the former pitcher?
No,
did he
I don't think he was a pitcher.
Okay,
No, he wasn't.
it's just different. I mean, it's a common name. That'd be cool if it's the same guy.
That's a white name.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Cy Young. Oh, sorry. Anyway,
Wow.
there's a baseball reference
right.
for you.
Fun facts. This movie was originally rated NC-17 for, quote, some graphic violence and sexual content. After an unsuccessful appeal for an R, Neon edited the film to get the desired rating. The uncut version was screened at Sundance, while the edited version was released in theaters. I can't imagine how crazy this movie was in the NC-17 version. It's rumored that Robert Pattinson was offered the lead role, but passed on it. I get it. And then the last one I've got is Cleopatra Coleman, who I've already mentioned. She was in The Shadow of the Moon with the very underrated Bokeem Woodbine, who was in 3,000 Miles to Graceland with David Arquette.
I'm surprised he passed on this role, though, because he was looking for, like,
Yeah.
indie roles that were, like, weird characters.
Yeah, but I think he wanted good ones. No, I'm just kidding. Like, I don't hate this movie, but if you look at the movies that he did do, High Life, The Rover, The Lighthouse, Good Time, like, those are leaps and bounds better movies than
He
this
said
one.
A24 only.
He
No
said
neon.
A24. Yeah.
Gang, gang.
Oh, brother. As far as the budget goes, the actual number was never released. Most people estimate that it was in between $5 to $8 million, and the gross ended up making around that same amount back, just under $6 million. So, obviously, not a major release or anything. So, probably had a lot to do with that.
I do have something about the budget.
If you have it, great.
So it's not really, but it ties in with it. So this movie, Infinity Pool, made more money in its first week than Crimes of the Future did in its entire theatrical run. And so that had to be like something as the son, as Brandon, you take that to David and be like, yeah, suck it. Like, my movie made more money in the first week than yours did the whole. But then again, David did The Fly, so Brandon has a lot to live up to.
Fly is a good
Anyway.
movie. Yeah, like, that's one we've
No,
overrated.
The
I
Fly
don't know
is
why we
good.
haven't done it yet.
My dumbass thought we already did The Fly. We hadn't done it yet.
No, we haven't done it yet. It's a good movie,
That's
too.
a good one. But then, I go and watch a movie earlier this year in theater called The Shrouds. I think that was the one that was from Cronenberg. And I was like, God, man, why do I keep watching his movies? They're just not for me.
I don't know, man. But let's jump into our favorite kill, least favorite kill, and the rating. Dustin, do you want to kick us off so you can jot our scores down?
Let's get it, dog. Favorite kill, the quote-unquote dog, I guess. Like, he pummeled it, and at least we got some good effects. Least favorite kill was M's Vacation. She's a lovely lady and didn't deserve that. As far as my final thoughts on the rating, it's bizarre, but it has some phenomenal camera work. The score is great, and it has great visuals. I give this movie props for being an original and abstract idea, but a lot of it was just way too slow moving and didn't make a ton of sense to me. All things considered, I gave it a 6.
All right, I'll go next. Favorite kill for me, I'm going to go with the dog pummeling as well. Least favorite kill, I'll just go with somebody who got shot in that house during that B&E. Like, oh, well, like, I mean, I thought a lot of the kills were good, like the sacrificing, like the surrogates. I thought those were all pretty good and, like, well shot. And I agree with you, Dustin. Like, I think the movie is, like, well made, well acted, well shot, and, like, it's technically good. And, like, the trippy scenes look good, but for this movie to be almost 2 hours, I feel like just not enough happens, and it just drags on and on and on. And I love Mia Goth, but if I ever hear that James thing one more time, I may stab the corncob handles from Thanksgiving into my own ears. But I gave the movie a 5. It's just not my favorite. It's a movie that exists to me.
Right. It felt, Yeah, my favorite kill, I mean, I guess like the third James clone kill was kind of cool, right? My least favorite was none of them because none of them really mattered because they were all clones minus the guy that got ran over in the beginning. So, or maybe they were clones. I don't fucking know what happened in this movie. But like you guys have already mentioned, and I mentioned, good bread, bad meat. This movie's just not for me. Like it's got a great original concept. I just don't know what that concept is, and I don't feel like they spend enough time fleshing it out. Now, I'm okay with like a weird sci-fi horror thriller movie, but like you got to explain a little bit more about what the purpose is and what's going on instead of leaving it so ambiguous, right? Like you know, like some of the A24 movies that we do really love, like a Midsommar, right? Like it's got some some ambiguity to it, but still kind of understand what the premise and the messages that movie's trying to convey are. In this one, I have no idea what the fuck is happening. So it feels like a lot of hoopla for nothing. But a great concept, just wasn't well executed. Shout out to Mia Goth, who I think is pretty much always great. I gave this a 5.5.
Well, that makes it easy enough because with my 6 and Nico's 5, that gives us an average of 5.5. And Rotten Tomatoes is tripping. 87% of critics gave it a positive score. But then again, that's just 3 out of 5, which is what I gave it. So I get it, I guess. IMDb 6 out of 10, Letterboxd 3.1 out of 5.
You're right along with all the websites, Dustin.
Yep.
All right, let's shout out our blood donors. I'll announce my pick for next week. We really appreciate all of our blood donors. You do take a huge burden off of us. We really appreciate it. Camper Level Reoccurring, Nina, the Horror Movie Crew podcast, Michelle Mirza, Steve Schmidt, Matt from the UK, and Anthony Andrews. I really wish Matt from the UK would have commented on this movie. I know it would have been funny. Camp Counselor Reoccurring, Edwin Hernandez Gunn, Joe Swinford, Adrian Aiello, Brian Samick, Andrew Ferguson, Brooke Maley, Heather Superdoc, Jennifer Davis from Too Close to Home Pod, Dana Tucker, Cole McAlexander, Max K, Madison Arzola, and Casey Smith. Like I said, really appreciate y'all. You help us pay the bills because it's not free to do the show, and it takes a big burden off of us. Thank you so much. Next week is my pick. I chose a movie from this year, 2025's Presence, from, was it Steven Soderbergh? I think this movie is one of my top 3 favorites of the year right now, of 2025. I think it's really good. It's a unique concept. To me, the movie is like a love it or hate it kind of movie because a lot of the online like reviews, people either love it or they hate it. And I'm a part of the group that loves it. I think the ending is very good, and I like the unique concept. But we'll be talking about that movie next week. We appreciate y'all tuning in for Infinity Pool. And, yeah, my favorite color is
Jason X.
neon.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourself.
Just want to remind everybody.